to another episode of the Quarter Life Podcast. I am Renee.
And I'm Kristen.
Ooh, it's been a really, really rough week this past week.
Yeah.
It seems like nothing is a surprise, but it's also very shocking. Like 2020 just keeps giving us the bullshit.
Like so much hell. Like it refuses to let up.
So we want to talk a little bit about the death of Chadwick Boseman. Such a huge, huge loss for the Black community and just the world in general.
Yeah.
I mean, when I found out, I honestly thought it was a joke because, of course, people kill off like celebrities on social media all the time.
All the time, yeah.
So when I saw it, I completely thought it was a joke. And then I got a work email because I do work in media. And I was just blown away when I realized it. I mean, I was upset that this was real.
Yeah, I was actually at work because I work overnight, and just like it was towards the end of my shift. I'm sitting at my desk, and you know how you do, you tend to go to social media sites to just like mindlessly scroll.
Mm-hmm.
And the first face I saw was his, and it was from his official account. And, you know, I read like the first line, and I immediately was like, no way. I said, and it just, such a crushing blow. And it didn't feel real, but at the same time, it felt like this is just another thing that 2020 has taken away from us. I had a hard time sleeping after that. I think that I was feeling a bit of like collective grief, especially like with the Black community. And that's really hard. It's really hard for someone like myself who does have a hard time like with death. So it made me kind of start looking into, well, why am I mourning someone that I didn't really know? Like, I didn't know this man. I just knew his work. And then I think it also kind of really hit me because, no kidding, the day before I watched Black Panther.
Oh, really?
And I did. And I kind of been watching just like different like little Marvel movies and stuff like that. Like I would just randomly jump from movie to movie. So before I watched Black Panther, I'd watched Civil War. You know, his introduction into the MCU and stuff like that. So, and then I decided to watch Black Panther because I'm like, man, it was such a good time. It just took me back to when it first came out. And, you know, I'd taken my mom and my aunts to see it after I'd already seen it. Like, you know, and we just
you were
had
joking
such
about
a good
being
time.
on the mountain, shaking your shoulders.
Yeah, like I was ready to like go to Wakanda, you know, and then the very next day to find out that we lost him, you know, such a talented man, such a giving man, such a person that really, really, truly loved us as a people. It was really hard, and it's still really hard. So
yeah, and I think he brought a lot of like with that movie, he brought a lot of hope into the Black community. There were, I mean, if you remember, it was such a huge deal. I mean, schools were taking kids to go see this movie because it's the first time that you see such a strong Black superhero. And not only that, but you had a strong Black cast. And it was, with the exception of a few people, it was all Black. And I mean, it's just crazy how much things change. And he kept his private life really private because of course, people had no idea that he was battling with colon cancer, and just think of the amount of strength as a person, as an actor, battling that while doing these roles and while doing these
Mm-hmm.
shoots. Um, and you could be on a movie shoot for 72 hours, and
Yeah.
it had to have taken a toll on him. But I mean, you couldn't see it. I mean, he's struggling internally
No.
and externally.
Yeah. And he got his body in such a great physical shape. Like that within itself is amazing. And
Hmm.
then to, like you said, couple that with the rigorous schedule that they usually have when it comes to filming, especially for a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And I think that he did a lot of his own stunts and just, I mean, what a powerhouse, and just is such a loss, for
You,
us, just
you know, he
everyone
did
in
martial arts
general.
as well.
He did martial arts, so it's just like I feel like there are so many more stories that need to be told, but that he should have been a part of.
Yeah.
And it's really sad, but I'm so thankful that we had Chadwick Boseman while we had him.
Mm.
I know that he was a man of faith, so I find comfort in that. That he isn't suffering anymore, he isn't in any more pain, and I really do send my heart and my condolences to everyone that personally knew him, because I mean, we knew him on a surface level, but he had people that really truly knew him and loved him. So
Right.
prayers out to them.
Yeah. And I saw a few of the cast members of the MCU actually tweet out their condolences, and you could just absolutely feel the that there was a great loss. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like much love and prayers go out to his family, and like you said, those who did know him. But Twitter was absolutely flooded with people who actually worked with him saying,
Yeah.
giving their condolences.
Yeah.
Um, and and the worst part is it's come at a moment when I think Black people are so frustrated and just fed up because we had the shooting in Kenosha.
Yeah.
Um, and with all of that, it's just, I think Black people are seriously tired. Like, we really are. Um,
Yeah. It it's like, how much can one people take? Like
right.
how much. I actually met up with a few friends yesterday, and just a few, because COVID is still a thing.
Hmm.
And we were kind of talking about everything, just everything that's been going on. And the one thing that I kept hearing, and it came from my mouth, from my friends, like, we don't know what to do,
Hmm.
because there's such a feeling of, um, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Right.
You try to peacefully protest, and you try to voice your concerns or your opinions. You try to live and sleep and eat in your home, and you want to feel safe, which is a place where you should feel safe, and you don't. And there's just like, this feeling of, we don't know. There's so much uncertainty around being here in this country, being a Black person in this country, and witnessing everything. And then on top of that, we lose one of our own who represented us so very well. And it was a feeling of basically like despair. And that's a dark place to constantly be in. And I so admire us as a people, because even though we face so much day in and day out, we still find a way to laugh and to love and to just be,
Okay.
you know. Yeah, we just find a way to be.
Yeah. It's one of those things where if you if you stop laughing, or um if you stop, having those feel good moments with, people that you care about, and if you stop coming together, um and join in like the commonality of it all, you will lose your mind.
Yeah.
Like there are so many times um I watched the Daily Show with Trevor Noah, and when he covered, of course, he's a very funny guy. At least I think he's
Mm-hmm.
very poignant, and he when he was talking about the shooting, you could just see, how fed up and how tired he was. And this is a person who can kind of make a joke just about out of anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when um when he was speaking on it, you could tell it really broke his heart, and he was just really disappointed in just not even just Americans, but people, especially giving this. There are a lot of people rallying behind the 17-year-old that went out and
Yeah.
shot those people. Like why was he out there? Why wasn't he? Um, you know, Police didn't run up and shoot him like they
No.
shot
Yeah.
Jacob.
They drove past him when I don't know if you saw the video.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the guy and the people were literally screaming at them like this guy just
saying he
shot
shot
someone,
someone. Yeah.
and they drove right past him.
Hmm.
And yeah,
It took a
and
day later for them to actually like get him, and that
yeah.
is baffling to me. Where you just shot this this guy who was going to his car 7 times in the back with his children in the car,
Hmm.
and you had no clue what. Well, people were saying, well, he could have possibly had a gun or a knife. Okay, well, cool. They don't know that though. There was no
Right.
perceived threat, one. And two, it's kind of funny how a lot of I don't want to say white people, but there are a lot of white people that champion behind gun rights, but only when uh, they have that right.
Yeah, when it applies to them, which a lot of racist people will just say racist people.
Yeah.
Um, a lot when it's for them, then it's fine. But
Hmm.
when you try to include people that are not them, that don't look like them, that don't believe the same things that they believe, then and then the situation in Kenosha, um, I personally could not watch that video because it's like at the time, and thank God, but at the time I didn't know if he had survived that shooting.
Yeah.
And so my first thought was, I cannot watch another Black person die on camera. I cannot do it, not for my own mental health or otherwise. I'm like, I can't, keep consuming this stuff because it is not normal.
No.
We've normalized it in some way because of technology and stuff, but it isn't normal to consistently see people that look like you be gunned down. And like you said, it was supposedly because of some perceived threat, but really I feel like it was because of the ego that these officers had. Because how dare a Black man turn his back to me and not listen to the commands that I'm giving him and walk away.
Right. He completely grabbed him by his shirt and just, like you already had him. Like why there is no reason for you to shoot. Like what was the reason behind the other like 6 bullets?
Yeah.
Like what was the reason behind the first bullet?
The
You
first
like you
bullet,
said, it was
right?
just ego.
It's ego. And they won't admit that, but a lot of these officers, I feel, step into these positions because of their ego. They want to feel powerful. They want that authority. And when people challenge that, when Black people, let me be specific,
Mm-hmm.
when Black people challenge that, then that becomes a how dare you. I am the law. I am this. I am that. And officers have all of these laws that protect them, but who protects us from the officers?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's when, oh, well, he should have complied. We hear this time and time again. Well, comply, comply, comply. And then when we see people actually complying, they still end up maimed, injured, or dead. Like, what is, you know, so what are we supposed to do? You know, we can't do this, we can't do that. What do you want from
Right.
us? And I think that you know, again, I can't speak for all Black people because we're not all the same. We're not a monolith. So there
Mm-mm.
are a lot of Black people that are on the side of the police. And that's fine because we do have Black police officers.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are
There are
some
some,
police officers that are really good, that do their
they are
job, that are
really
for the
good.
people.
Yeah. And I think that it's so intentional, the way that they try to position people that say defund the police as if though people are against the police as a whole,
Yeah.
and that we hate them. And that's not the case, because I'll be the first person to, like, I'm going to call the police. you know you know, so it's like it's so intentional to make it seem like this side is hateful and we just want to, we're against them. But what we're saying is stop killing us.
Mm-hmm.
And
It
I
doesn't.
don't understand why they're so controversial.
It doesn't take. It's because it's easier for them to completely ignore the main message, and you could rally a lot of fear in that. But when you say, well, when you actually take a look at the message and you know what people actually want, you're forced to adhere to that. You're forced to say, hey, this is wrong. We need systematic change, and change
Mm-hmm.
can be hard. People don't want change because either it benefits them or they're too lazy to make that change, and they don't want it to be for the other person. They think that what we have now is fine because hey, I have no problem with it. I'm benefiting from it. You guys are just in the wrong.
So and so that's the thing with that too, right? When it comes to enacting change, you say that, how can you have the argument that, oh, everything is fine and you guys are just complaining to be complaining and nothing needs to change, but then when we say, oh, well, we want these equal opportunities and these rights, and then all of a sudden it becomes, well, then that affects me, then that's going to take away
Mm,
from, you know, the way that I'm able to progress in this country and in life. So you are acknowledging that you have all of these privileges, right? Like, you can't say that there's no such thing as white privilege, but then proceed to list all of the ways that you as a white person are privileged and I shouldn't be as a Black person. Like,
right.
you can't have it both ways. And they gaslight people so much. Like, there's so much gaslighting around all of this stuff. And I'm just like, at this point, I'm like, I am not going to defend my humanity to someone who doesn't view me as a human being to begin with. I am not going to constantly say I am a person, because you know that you're talking to me. I am a sentient being. So it's like, I don't want to defend who I am because you don't see me as a person to begin with.
Right.
So why would I get into this argument with you about, you know, me being a human being when you don't view me as one to start? So I think I've kind of gotten to the point where it's like, yeah, I'm only gonna rock with the people who rock with me,
Mm-hmm.
and and everyone else that's just like hateful and all of this different stuff that you see across all of these platforms and in the news and stuff like that. Like, just go away. Please leave me
Yeah.
alone. I'm tired. I don't want to argue with you. I don't care what you think or what you believe, because you clearly don't care what I think or what I believe.
Right.
You don't see me as a full, complete human being to begin with. So that's fine, girl. Just go away. Just go away. Go do your thing. But just kind of to circle back to the stuff with Kenosha and the 17-year-old, they were out there, quote unquote, protecting businesses, which
Yeah.
for one, he was not even from there. And also, you're 17.
Mm-hmm.
I think his mom like drove him there and all that kind of stuff. And the police were like handing them water and thanking them for being out there. And then I'm like, so now we're really moving into like super dangerous territory, right? Because you're bigging up these militias and all of these groups that are popping up to go out armed and to basically try to intimidate protesters.
Not to mention saying that, quote unquote, these businesses are more important than human life.
Than human life. So this business mattered more than the two men that lost their lives. Where are we even like at right now with the way that we're behaving and thinking as a country? And I always kind of felt like America was going to get to its boiling point. We've kind of sort of been there. The pot, it hadn't completely boiled over, but we're pushing it. And depending on what happens in November, it really is. It could be scary either way, right? Because
Yeah.
if Trump wins, then that's another 4 years of him, or possibly another 12, if he has his way.
If he becomes the dictator that he wants to
That
be.
he wants to be, like, he wants to be a dictator, and I'm like, so all of these rights that I keep hearing people scream about, like, you're not going to take my rights away from me, but I'm like, but you're losing them.
Yeah.
You're losing them because you don't want us to have any. And I'm like, so when he finally decides that that you've gotten him to the point that he is the ruler of all, and now you also have no rights, then what are you going to do? Because at that point, it's too late.
Mm-hmm. He is
You know?
not for you. Like, get it through your head. He is only interested in what Trump wants. And he
Yeah.
will say anything. I know we say this about politicians all the time, that they'll say anything to get the vote. But I mean, Trump is on a completely different level. And all of the racist, sexist, just bigoted things that come out of his mouth, and you champion that because they align with your viewpoints in a way.
Mm-hmm.
There is nobody who actually you can't believe that Trump is a good Christian. You say, well, Trump is a Christian and I'm a Christian. He doesn't even know one verse of the Bible. Like,
He held it upside down.
he held it upside down. He held it
and
upside.
yeah.
Uh, mm, I think he did an interview. I can't remember who with, but he did an interview, and he was talking about how much he loved the Bible. The Bible was his favorite book, and they
Yeah,
asked,
I
you
saw
know,
it.
this one, yeah,
Yeah.
they asked him, say, okay, what's your favorite verse? Can you quote us a verse? And he was just like, no, I can't do that. It's too personal. Like, because you don't know. They even asked him, okay, well, are you Old Testament or New Testament guy? Um, I think they're both good. Oh my goodness.
Such a
The
joke. He is such a joke, and there is not a soul living that could convince me otherwise that Jared Kushner is not the Omen.
yeah.
Like, every time I look at that guy, I'm like, this is dang, like, he is the Omen. Like, look at him. there is something so incredibly just like creepy about that dude. And he is not to be trusted. I mean, look at his freaking address. For the building he owns in New York, it's 666. Like, it all aligns. And I know I probably sound like a crazy conspiracy lady, but it's just something so creepy about him. I mean, it's just I cannot believe that we are living in a time like this. This doesn't feel real, but at the same time, we are actually going through it.
Right. And
And my brain can't catch up.
there are people who are constantly saying, well, if Joe Biden, gets in, you'll have all the protests and you'll have this, that, and the other. You're not going to be safe in his America. I'm not safe in Trump's America. Like,
Exactly. What are
like,
you talking
like
about?
all of this is going on right now as we speak.
Right now.
We have a
And
pandemic. We have like
yes.
California on fire. We have, the protests and the police shootings, and like what
All
makes
of
you
this during Trump's America. And I'm like, what are you I just dude, I'm so tired. But then at the same time, it's like you don't get to be tired, because the moment that you try to catch your breath, it's like something else happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if we've been able to catch our breath since 2016. Like,
Yeah.
so shit just went downhill, and it's not letting up. It is not letting up. And
At this point, I don't even have much hope for 2021. I'm just like, whatever happens,
dude,
happens.
yeah, it's just like, you know what? If we make it to 2021, that within itself is going to be a miracle and a blessing. If we can get there, like, we have to get there. And then, like I said, if we do get there and then Trump is still in office, like, what the hell? So,
okay, I will have my passport, and as we've said
yeah.
before, I am migrating to Canada.
Canadian. Yeah, and I know that, I kind of talk to my family and stuff about like leaving the country and all of that. We joke and we laugh, but I'm like, guys, I am so for real.
You don't understand how serious I am.
We seriously need to be considering, like, an exit strategy. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, how did we get to this point? Like, I never really considered living in another country before, because I'm like, yeah, America has its faults, but which place doesn't? There is no perfect place unless it's a place that I own by myself, so there is no perfect place. But then it's also like, okay, well, now you have to weigh, which is shittier, the America or anywhere else. Like,
Right.
you kind of have to weigh your options with that. And I'm like, y'all think I'm joking, but I'm so for real.
Yeah, and it's funny because at this point, we like you said, I've joked with it about my family and stuff before, but it's never like it got to the point where I think I was talking to my mom last week about it. And my mom is terrified of flying. She hates flying, but in all seriousness in her voice, she was like, well, if you're moving to Canada, me and a friend of ours, Tamara, it's like me and Tamara will move to, I think it was Denmark. It's like we'll go. I don't care. If he gets another 4 more years, if he gets another 4 years, I am leaving. I will get over my fear of flying, and I will leave this country. And for my mom, that's a big deal. So, yeah, it's
Like, we're overcoming like fears, right? Because we're so afraid of what's coming.
like one fear will not outweighs another.
Yeah, like we're like, okay, so yeah, let's do this. Let's get on this flight and let's go. I know
Mm-hmm.
when I was talking to my mom about moving, she was like, well, what about work and this and that? And I'm like, hey, we'll figure that out when we get there.
When
some
we
things
get
you
there, we'll figure
cannot
it all
truly be
out.
worried about. Yeah, I was like, I got a little bit of savings. It's enough to get us there and, to maybe tide us over. So,
And other than that,
but
we'll figure it out.
yeah, there are jobs everywhere pretty much. So, you know, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. And I think that uncertainty, it's at a level that it's never really been at for me because, you
Mm-hmm.
can't, predict the future, but when you feel like your future is like a black hole and there's nothing good in front of you, you kind of start planning ahead, in case, like I said, you need an exit strategy. So,
Yeah. I mean, me and Groove are saving up for a house, and now we're just like, do we really let's see how things work out first, and then we decide
yeah,
on whether
like
or not we
that's
buy
like,
a house.
right, like that's a thing because I too have been like, okay, well, I think it's time that I actually become a homeowner. These are things that I'm trying to prepare for and get things in order and everything, and now I'm like, oh, maybe I should wait. I was telling my friends, I like really all of my friends except for maybe a handful of them are married or they have kids and stuff like that, and I'm like, y'all, I'm at the point where I don't know if I want to bring a child into this world.
Yes.
And it's so scary because I'm like, I'm afraid just for myself and for my family members. Now I couldn't imagine the fear that I would have as a mother trying to protect my children
Right.
from the world. So
I
yeah, I mean,
completely understand.
it's amazing the things that it's changing for me. Like, maybe I should hold off on buying a house here. Instagram has been Instagram has been showing me a lot of beautiful homes in Canada, and I don't know why. This was before I started talking about moving to Canada, and it's like, why is Instagram showing? I'm like, oh, this house is gorgeous, and then I look at the top, and it's like, this is in Ontario, Canada. What?
Oh, girl, my YouTube is full of like Canada houses in Canada, houses in Ontario, Toronto,
Yeah,
Vancouver.
yeah,
I'm just like,
yeah.
oh, this house looks amazing, and then I look at the address, like, all right, bet someone's trying to tell me something.
Yeah, so is the next ad going to be like, hey, this job is hiring in Canada? Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like, we are living in some crazy times. Like,
Hmm.
I don't even know. I don't even know if there's enough weed to like get people through all of this.
Just all of it, the whole field, just all of it.
Yeah, let's just go and lay out and just, somebody set a field on fire. Let's socially distance, but let's lay out and
This
just let the
layout though.
fumes take us. Yeah.
Girl. But yeah. So on that note, I think the next topic of discussion is did you want to go ahead and touch on what you think in these crazy times why people are tired of hearing about celebrities?
Yeah. So
Or not about, but from celebrities.
from celebrities, right? So and I'm so sorry I'm laughing, but I'm just thinking about the many times I've seen people shut celebrities down on social media. Okay, so I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but towards the beginning of everything, like the lockdowns and stuff like that, um, I started noticing like a trend on Twitter and like on Instagram of people kind of being like, you're a celebrity, don't want to hear from you. And so a while back, celebrities like Gal Gadot and I don't know, a lot of other people did this video. I think you've seen it, where they're
Mm.
singing something about, I don't know, holding hands and healing the world. I don't know. So, and people lit into them like, what is this? We don't want to hear it. Get it out of here. What are y'all talking about? They each like sung a line of the song and
Yeah.
it was in black and white. And, I'm like, what is this doing for anyone?
Well, and I think it's because during weird times, usually in times of war or in times of like police brutality or something like major that's always happened, every generation has had like a song where celebrities would come together and you'll see them in the studio and sing.
Like We Are the World or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There have been a bunch of those, but for some reason, this one I think seemed so
Yeah.
disingenuous and
It ain't
cringy.
slapping. Yeah, that shit don't slap, bruh. And I'm put it to you just like that.
You did
Like it,
not just say that.
yeah, that shit don't slap, bruh. So and so I noticed that the it feels like the age, I'll call it the age of the celebrity, is kind
Mhm.
of like trending down, right? Like everyday people are not looking to celebrities the way that a lot of us used to. Like we used to really turn to them to maybe be a voice for some of us or to bring awareness to something
Right.
because they have this huge platform. But it's like, yeah, but we all kind of have that platform now, right? You know, with technology and with social media and the TikTok kids and all of these things. So we all have that ability to use our voices and to get them out there, you know.
Mhm.
So no one really needs them for that. And people were kind of like, okay, I don't need you singing in my face about holding hands. Like my lights are about to get cut off, dude, or I just got laid off because of the pandemic, stuff like that, you know. And last week I saw a video that Ice Cube did. And he was talking about something about Biden and Harris and how black people, I guess maybe, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing. These aren't his exact words, but like we should almost withhold our vote for them until America agrees to enter into a contract with Black America. And I'm thinking to myself, like,
Uh,
are we signing a contract for like a 3-part movie deal? What are you talking about? And so
and
this
also,
guy was, this guy was like, yeah, Ice Cube lives in a gated community in which none of you would ever be able to enter, and he's worth like $160 million. I don't think this is the dude we need to be listening to, because whether Trump is in office or not, he'll be fine.
right. And I don't know if you know this, Ice Cube, but elections will go on with or without you. So if
Mm-hmm.
we aren't voting, then guess who gets back into office?
And I feel like it's so incredibly irresponsible, right? So I went to his Instagram page and just to see kind of like what people were saying, and a lot of people that didn't have MAGA 2020 hashtag on their comments said how irresponsible it was of him to, you know, to basically promote withholding things. Like, okay, let's be realistic here. We don't have a lot of power in this country as
Mm,
is, right? So if every Black person sat out this election and did not vote, what does that accomplish for us?
right.
Because if America hasn't entered into a contract with Black America um, by now, then they're never going to do it. They won't. They keep telling us to shut up about slavery. Do you think that they're going to like, okay, guys, let's bring in Ice Cube and bring in your lawyers. We're going to sit down and talk about those reparations we promised you guys all those years ago that none of you ever got. In the places that are getting some form of reparations, they aren't even getting like cash. You know, they're like,
Right.
oh yeah, you can come to the library free for the rest of your life. You know?
Also, we've seen this with the Native American population. They're
Yes, yes,
like they are not getting like we see how you treat them. They're not getting anything.
yes,
There was an area, a place that blew up. I can't remember what kind of project it was for, but they blew up this land that was a sacred Native American land, and they just like blew a portion of it up for some dumbass project. And it's like, why do you think they will treat you any better?
any better. Like they have not done right by the indigenous people of this land, which are the people that they first need to start with.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Like we weren't here first.
we were not here
We
first.
were brought.
So let's get in line. So begin with the indigenous people and atone for the sins that you have committed against these people and that you still commit against these people, and the things that you've stolen from them, the lives that have been taken from them, the culture and everything that you've stripped away from them. But it's not going to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
I hate to sound like that because I used to be an optimistic person.
Not in 2020.
Yeah, that's out the window. But it's not going to happen because it hasn't happened by now. And then when you have people in positions of power or authority that are only out for themselves, yeah, it's kind of like a lost cause, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's just like, and then when you get, again, these celebrities in here telling, speaking to us from inside of their mansions, and I'm like, what? You're talking to a lot of people who are still kind of waiting to see if we're going to get a second stimulus check,
Right.
or people who are on unemployment. You have no leverage here.
Or people who can't pay their mortgage because of
Their mortgage, or for their medication, or
yeah.
who need food or clothing, or just anything to be able to sustain a livable life in this country. You do not get to sit in front of your phone in your mansion and tell me that I should not vote for this person or this person because they haven't made a contract with us yet. Did you ask for a
Mm-hmm.
contract with Donald Trump before he was elected? I don't think so, Bucko.
I didn't hear one.
I didn't hear about any contract. Maybe I missed the all black person meeting at night.
Oh, it's
So,
it's because you didn't have the money. It was only for people with money.
oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. No
Mm-hmm.
wonder. No wonder. Maybe they did some type of secret backroom deal or something. I mean, I don't, it's like, what are you even talking about? What are you talking about? And then also, why are you talking about it to me?
Right.
Like,
And it's because you're in these positions of influence.
mm-hmm.
And one, you're telling people, don't go out and vote, which dumbass idea. And two, you have no plan on how to help us. Like what
Yeah, like,
we
what have
need,
you done? What
yeah,
have you done?
we
You're,
need you to help. Not to
yeah.
sit there singing a song in black and
Yeah,
white that
I don't
took
want to hear
you a
that.
minute to do.
Yeah, I don't, leave me alone. And I'm thankful to artists and creatives and stuff like that, because I consume a lot of their work,
Hmm.
and it does help for like escapism and stuff like that. But when you're coming to me and things are like destitute, and you're telling me to like hold somebody's hand when I'm not supposed to be because of COVID, I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear
Well,
from
hold their hand
someone
virtually.
virtually. Like, I don't want to hear from someone who could very easily pack up his entire family and fly them out of here to a safe place while the rest of us are left behind to try to survive. There isn't, you don't have that influence anymore. And so that was what I've been noticing, is that leverage that they had, that a lot of celebrities had, and that influence that they had, people are kind of like, yeah, now ain't the time, brother. We
Yeah.
don't,
I
we're out
think,
here doing the real work. You're talking to me from behind a gated community.
yeah. And I think there are a lot of, not uh, celebrities that you see in like television or movies, but there are a lot of like YouTube celebrities who um, have it a little bit more um, not easy, who have a little bit more influence on us because we see them as, even though they're YouTube celebrities, we see them as regular as people. Just
Yeah.
because I think the distance between YouTube celebrities and people who are in movies and television, and sometimes they cross paths, but you know, typically that person who was on YouTube started out just by sitting in front of a camera and doing something. They were just a
Yeah.
regular person like you
Yeah.
who probably had a twin size bed or something and was like, hey, I want to do a video, and have no clue on where they were going with it. And then they really
Yeah.
climbed
Just
themselves.
they had an
Like,
idea and did it, and yeah.
yeah, and that happened. And I think because they're still so grounded to some of them, I won't say all, but I think because they're still so grounded to the reality of an everyday person, um, there are people who are way more willing to listen to them than someone who uh, stays in, like you said, a mansion with people who can take care of them, and they don't have to, ever leave their house, or they could fly out of here the moment something bad happens, and everything will be fine.
Yeah, it's like about relatability, right? Like
Hmm.
I can't relate to someone who makes uh 10-20 million dollars, you know, a gig. I can't relate to that. Like
And $20 million
yeah.
dollars is life changing for me, and that's like a week of work for you. Get
Dude,
out of
what?
here.
Yeah, I can't relate to someone like that. The only thing that we can relate on is that we're human beings, right? So but after that, after that things get different. So,
Hmm.
it's about being able to relate to them. And I think, and even with people like Ice Cube, his past and his history and stuff like that, and that he had to pull himself up, right?
Hmm.
We all saw the movie, and we know that he was in I guess a gang. I mean, I don't know, tough rapper from LA and everything like
Yeah.
that. But he has been so long and so far removed from that, and I think that he still uses that as his, like, kind of sway or political sway, or just yeah, he uses that. And I'm like, yeah, no, you probably like live in Sherman Oaks or something, dude. Like, I don't want
Dude, when was the
to.
last time you been in those streets? When was the last time you went grocery shopping by yourself? Tell me
Yeah,
something.
like, do you still, like, go to, like, the mom and pop stores in your old neighborhood? And I don't know what he does. He probably does do some charitable work and stuff, and it's just like not, broadcast for everyone to see, because not everything has to be. But at the same time, I'm like, we are in such a dangerous political climate that this is not the time for you to get out there and try to Kanye West this thing.
Right.
Like, step aside. I don't need people like that trying to tell me or anyone else that is like me what we need to be doing, because you don't know. You're not living this.
Right.
You're not living a paycheck to paycheck type of life, or you're not seeing your family members struggle. You're not seeing homelessness and stuff like that when you go outside. You're not seeing any of that. So just please, just sit back and, let everyone else do the work.
Right. Yeah. On that note, and I'll talk very briefly about this because um oh my gosh. I just scrolled through Facebook and I saw uh somebody talking about how they turned 30 today, and they're driving on uh a boat, just out and being free, and I'm so jealous. Okay, and this brings to my point. This is why we have to get take a break from social media every now and again.
Yeah.
Now, there are some people, and I try to limit my use of social media, and it's kind of hard when I have the apps on my phones and they give me alerts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm nowhere near the amount that I used to be, and I'm nowhere near the amount where Groove is right now. I keep talking about him. I hope he's listening. Groove, get off your phone, especially if, like, it will. I legit, when you wake up in the morning, I know a lot of time is spent on, okay, what happened last night, or did someone post something? Did someone respond to a comment of mine, or whatever? And
Yeah.
it has completely taken over. I've never seen something that people that took so much time out of your life besides like your job that people had to take breaks from. Like
Mm-hmm.
and I don't ever remember having to do a social media cleanse. Like 10 years ago, I don't remember having to do a social media cleanse because I wasn't on it all the time. And it seems like every app, be it Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, um, I don't use Snapchat anymore. Um, and
Yeah,
I
neither
damn
do
sure don't
I.
use, yeah, and I damn sure don't use TikTok. I can't even understand it. So it tells you
I
how old
never
I
even
am.
downloaded it. Right. What is this?
I downloaded it and I was
Some
like,
things you should definitely leave to the youth. Like,
yeah.
I'm not, don't worry, kids. I'm not going to be one of those people, the old people that hop on TikTok.
And we're not stepping on your turf. We'll stick to Instagram and the Facebook and the
Ugh,
MySpace and the
Facebook is the worst.
Zanga.
I don't, yeah. The who? The what?
I don't know if you guys, I mean, I know some of you might be a little too young to remember, but there was a thing called Zanga and Foursquare and okay, let me stop trying to show my age. Um, but yeah, there's like I never before had to think that I needed to take a break. And there's
Yeah.
um so much negativity. I stopped arguing with people so much on like social media now because there was a point where I would like literally stay up for hours trying to argue a point when nobody would see my like the person I'm talking to won't see my point because
Mm-hmm.
they're sitting there trying to argue a point with me and like nobody wants to be wrong. So
Right.
it's easy to do um when you're online rather than being face to face. Because when you're face to face, you're actually forced to have a conversation with somebody, and you're actually forced to think as you're talking. Like you can take whatever time you need to while you're typing away at your computer on your phone. Um, but to have a argument right then and there that just pops up in your head is a little bit more difficult. So you're forced to
Yeah.
actually listen to the person. Um, but it has taken. I mean, it takes over. Like social media for me is not. It's not. It hasn't been fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been fun for a while. And I think the exception to that is probably Pinterest because I still love Pinterest. But
Oh, Pinterest is so good.
Pinterest is so fun and
So good.
but I think the thing with Pinterest is I can actually spend time like cultivating boards and um seeing like different ideas and what people have done or created and
Yeah.
that makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, we could all use a little bit more of that.
Hmm. So, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had to just do that before where you take a break from whatever.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well, I try.
I-
I do try, and it is like when you mentioned, getting up the next day and being like, okay, so what did I miss? Right. And so
Mm,
Twitter is that for me. So I have had periods where I would delete Facebook and I would delete like Instagram from my phone. Like I would completely delete the apps, but I found myself never deleting Twitter. And Twitter is where I go to get a lot of my news like instantly,
mhm.
as the timeline is refreshing and stuff like that, or just seeing what people are talking about, just being a part of that community, seeing what's going on in Black Twitter, stuff like that. So I would delete the other two and then keep that because those are my main three, right?
Mhm.
Facebook, really not so much. Facebook is like third on my list of
Yeah.
apps. I kind of go there to kind of be like, okay, maybe the older people in my family don't know what's happening because a lot of stuff happens on Twitter way before it gets to Facebook. So
Yeah.
let me hip them to this and then I'm out. Like I don't spend a ton of time on Facebook. Um, Instagram is just really I mostly kind of talk to my friends on there a little bit, or I might post a few of my thoughts and stuff. Again, stuff that my friends are all on Instagram. I'm really the only
You
one
ain't
that's on
never talked to
Twitter.
me on Instagram.
Dude, you're barely on there. So
Well, didn't you
you're
just
barely,
hear what I said? I'm trying to cleanse myself.
exactly. So, but I mean, and it's just, and really the talking is just them maybe responding to something that I posted in my IG stories, or, so Twitter is mostly my thing. And I do feel like a lot of times that I do need to do like a cleanse. Like, let's just get off of everything. Let's delete the apps. And so I would tell myself, like, let me try this for a week. And then I can't even go 2 days without, because
You're addicted.
I know. And I'm just like, I can't even go 2 days without, no, I got to see what happened on Twitter, because it's like you can miss so much information with just being away for 2 days. And you won't really know what happened, and when this happened, and so, I mean, I don't know. I try, and maybe I'll try again, but I won't try right now. So, because I just want to, especially in the age of not, going into the office to work and stuff like that, and getting
Yeah.
that interaction face to face with people. It's a way to be able to connect with people outside of my home.
Right.
So,
And see, that's is a little bit different for me, since one, yes, I do get news on Twitter, but also I work in news, so I'm constantly
yeah,
bombarded.
You work in the news, so
Yeah, so I think that's another reason why I must like distance myself a little bit, because when I'm getting that constantly either on in emails or through
mm-hmm.
text messages from
It's a lot.
coworkers, it's
Mm-hmm.
such a lot, such a lot. Oh my gosh, what kind of sentence was that? But it is a lot. And with I'll check it on um, Twitter or like Facebook, not Instagram, because Instagram doesn't really do news too much. But even as far as other people telling me, and I'm like, I've heard this like 4 times today. Please
Yeah,
just
yeah.
please leave.
That leave me alone. I don't
Yes,
need to hear
leave
it
me
anymore.
alone.
Yeah, and I get that, because when I was still working in media too, we'd already know about all of this stuff, right? And then not only do you hear it at work like 4 times, because you have like 4 different, times when they're going to talk about it. Then you see it on your feeds and your timelines and stuff like that, or someone texts you about it, or like
Right.
in your case, you get an email about it, and it's like, oh my God, how many more times can I hear about it? So I
And
get
then
it. I
YouTube would
definitely
tell
get
me
it.
about
Yeah, then
it. And
YouTube will tell you about it, and then if your phone is gonna tell you about it, because it knows you better than you know yourself. So it's gonna recommend and suggest stuff to you about it. So I definitely get why you would need like this social media detox, right?
yeah,
Because you're still going to get all of that information just based off of what you do professionally. So
yeah.
I totally understand.
But I think it's because there are some other people who I know who said that they've spent way too much time on social media. I think there's actually, you can go and look at how much time you spent on like Facebook. I'm not sure about Instagram or Twitter, but I do know for sure there's like um, a graph where you can see, hey, you spent this many hours
Yeah,
on,
your iPhone will tell you that. I know
yeah,
that you have Android, but the iPhone has this screen time uh thing built into it, and I think that it is so invasive. Like, I don't need you telling me I don't need you telling me that I picked my phone up 7 times in 1 hour, because it literally breaks it down like that, right? And it'll tell you your most used app, like, oh, Instagram is like at 38%, and you were on this app for 2 hours and 5 minutes, and maybe you might want to put the phone down. And I'm like, maybe you might want to mind the business that pays you. You are my phone. It is not the other way around. Yeah, it'll tell
You
you
did
all of
not
this.
go off on your phone like that.
No, not my phone, because I immediately turned that off. Like, no, I don't need you to tell me anything about my screen time. I know I spend a lot of time on my phone.
Yeah. So you don't feel the need to detox though.
I do, but I just don't do it.
All right, bet.
I definitely feel like I should take this week off, because this has been such a shitty week. So I feel this previous week anyway, like, I feel like I should probably let's just take the week off. Let's delete those apps off of everything. Let's get them off of the iPad. Let's get them off of the iPhone and the iBooger and whatever else you use to check these apps. The good thing is stuff like Facebook, I don't even know what my password is, so I can't even get on that from my computer. So,
You don't want to do the whole, I don't want to hit forgot password and do that whole,
I'm not doing that, because then see, I'm going to have to change the password on my phone and then change it on my iPad and then change it. I'm like,
it's too much.
Who has the time? Yeah, who has the time for that? So, yeah, I should do a cleanse, but I just don't. So that's where I am in my life.
Well, I don't know how many of our viewers feel like they need to do a cleanse afterwards. If you do, let us know.
Yeah, let us know, and maybe give me some tips on how you did it, because it seems like I need a little help.
Yeah, I mean, you need a lot of help.
Wow.
You're welcome,
Whose side are you on?
I'm on my side. I'm on, taking some time out for yourself side.
Yeah.
Although I can't say too much because I'm on like I said, I'm on Pinterest and YouTube a lot. And I've gotten tired of Netflix, kind of. It's just I don't need another story. Like I really don't. I just need some random like short like 5 minute video.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing it too. Like let's see what YouTube suggested me today. Like this morning it suggested this log in timber home. So I watched a man give me a tour of a house that he built. So, because it's kind of like I don't have to do any thinking, right? Like I don't have to really follow along with it like I would if I'm watching something on Netflix. Like I pay attention to the story. Like, yeah, Dave, please show me that bathroom with the double vanity and the amazing view. I would love to see it.
I would love to see, especially in Canada, because they have like these basement, these amazing like 3-level homes with like a
They do.
basement
What
area.
is that about? It's so amazing.
I have no clue, but I want it right now.
I know, it's gorgeous. Oh my, Canada, I feel like we make a plea for you like every episode.
Every episode.
Someone's gonna like listen to this and like do a crowdfunding to get us the hell out of America.
Because clearly we keep talking about wanting to leave. So
yeah. So, but they do have like these 3-level like homes, and it's like, does everyone live like this in Canada? Which I know everyone doesn't,
but you wouldn't know that from all the videos that pop up.
Yeah,
so,
that's crazy.
Anyway, friend, I feel like this has been, we tried to cut the last episode short, and now I think we made up for that short episode with this one. But it's been enjoyable.
It has. It's been cathartic.
Yeah. And an emotional roller coaster. So,
oh God, yeah, we've been all over the place, but it feels nice to talk with a friend. And so my just suggestion for anyone that may be listening, that may be, feeling really heavy or just kind of lost or just kind of down really about what's going on, the state of our world, I would suggest maybe if you have someone to talk to please reach out to them. It does feel good to the soul to be able to talk to a friend. Find something that brings you just even a little bit of joy. because I feel like we could all use it. And if you're like Brene, do a social media cleanse, because that place can get pretty toxic. I should know because I'm pretty deep in the trenches with that. But just, just find some way to find some sort of peace with what's going on. And, when you're up to it, get back out there and, keep fighting, because we definitely have to keep fighting.
That was so sweet. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I just
You're so annoying.
But no, good words. Good that was a good words to the masses, or however many people listen to us. Thank you for everyone listening. We highly, highly appreciate it. We are climbing that ladder of, views, and I hope you hearing us today, or just at any time, brings you a little bit of happiness, brings you a little bit of knowledge, and just a little bit of everything. We highly, highly appreciate you. And
Yeah.
it's time to close out. So thank you guys. Thank you, Kristen, as always, for being up here and talking things out. And we shall talk to you guys next week.
Next week, guys. See ya. Thank you, Brene. Bye-bye.
Bye.